A few years ago, after I retired from the police, I was looking for a quiet job and I started working as a security guard in a hospital. It doesn't sound bad, and it wasn't, except for the fact that the time was from 9 at night to 7 in the morning, that I worked alone, and that the hospital I was watching was abandoned. I was always a third-rate officer. I don't get scared easily. But this place could take out the most fearful of me. Every night I walked on a wheelchair through the corridors that were supposed to be empty, in complete disuse. Every night I ended up closing doors, re-locking them over and over again. I did it with one floor, I moved to the next and continued. I started to get nervous when, an hour after passing through a corridor, I had to turn off the same lights again and close the same doors again. Or when I walked down a corridor and heard footsteps on the top floor, doors opening or closing, elevators moving between floor to floor, phone ringing, the lights that the sick call the nurses on, etc., that kind of stuff. But there were only 3 occasions in which I was really scared, as if I were a child. The first time I was doing my round through the offices of the 4th floor. There was a light on in a hall closed with a key, as it used to happen. This corridor had not been renovated since the place was built in the 20s of the last century. I opened the door, turned off the light, walked outside, closed the door again with the key and turned around to leave. Behind me I heard the click of the interlucent. Through the blurry glass of the door, I saw the lights turn on again. I decided to leave the corridor quiet that night. The second time I went to the elevator. I went to the last level when, around the 4th or 5th floor, I heard some laughter and someone speaking in a low voice. It was getting louder as it went up. The elevator reached the 5th floor. The doors opened, absolute silence. Of course, the lights were on, even inside the rooms. I looked for the last corner, under the beds, behind the curtains. There was not a single living being on that level, besides me. The third, the worst of all, was in what seemed to be a night. I was on the ground floor, closing a door with a key, in one of the corridors. The door had a glass window in the middle, but inside it was covered with white adhesive tape. The room behind the door was dark, and the corridor, a few steps behind me, was somewhat illuminated, so the glass acted as an almost perfect mirror. Everything normal, key inside, safe, turned the key. When behind me, I saw the perfect silhouette of a person passing through the corridor, right behind me. I froze completely for a second. Then I reacted and ran after the supposed person in the corridor. No one, just silence. I was sitting on a hill next to a road, monitoring traffic. It was 2 or 3 in the morning. That place is a well-known point because a person was killed there about 20 years ago and the case could never be resolved. The other companions did not use that hill for monitoring, even when the cars in that area always passed about 15 or 20 miles per hour over the speed limit for the area. While I was monitoring, I saw a shadow walking near the patrol car, approaching the passenger side. Almost immediately after, the shadow walked towards my side, and then moved to the front. The only thing that illuminated the place was the moonlight. Everything was completely dark in that area. Thinking the worst, I turned on all the lights I had at hand, the vehicle lights and my lamp, to see who or what was moving around me. But there was nothing. I thought it might be time to leave the place. Once I arrived at a lighted zone, I braked and remembered that the patrol camera starts recording when I turn on the emergency lights. I looked at the recording and I can see it. A figure walks from my door to the front of the unit. Then, for half a second, the camera goes black, as if someone put their finger on the lens, and then returns to normal. Since then, I don't use that place for night monitoring either.